Hello, and today on the Secret to Success podcast, we have a good friend of mine, Luca Peterson. Luca has been creating content online for 7 years now, and he started just before COVID and really doubled down just after COVID and has since amassed 350,000 followers. He teaches people how to create content from videography to photography and everything in between. He's become an incredible presenter, really talented and engaging, really likable fella, and really resonates with people. He's created an incredible brand for it, works with brands such as Adobe, huge sort of deals that he's created through creating content online. He gives us a few nuggets on that, a few nuggets on balance and success. He's turned what is effectively his passion into a full-time career. It was a really, really enjoyable conversation, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Luca, welcome to the pod. Thanks for joining me, mate. I do appreciate this. Let's start off with the question I start on every time. Success looks different to everybody. What's a success look like to you, and how has that evolved over time?
Thank you for having me. What does success look like for me is actually, right now, success looks like for me as peace of mind. And that's evolved a lot, because if you'd have asked me maybe 7, 8 months ago, I'd have been like consistency, always consistency. And not saying that consistency doesn't play a huge role. I think it plays a massive role. But peace of mind has become apparent as much more of a success point than everything that I used to think was success, i.e. a growing account, i.e. more money incoming and all of that kind of stuff. I now see peace of mind as trumping all of that.
And how do you get the peace of mind?
Oh, well, that is a daily, I was going to say battle, but battle isn't the right word for if you want peace of mind. It's a daily learning, I think, to see when I'm slipping into chasing things, say lots of views, let's say lots of money, all of that kind of stuff, and realizing that won't do for me what I used to think it would do for me. And instead come to a place of enjoying just the doing and not
enjoy the process, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it is enjoying the process, which sounds like a proper cliche thing to say. It really does. But I for a long time was, much more set on outcomes and requirements and all of that kind of thing. And I thought, if I do this, I will get this. And so if I did something and it didn't turn out to what I wanted it to be or what I thought it should be, I'm creating this narrative of something that I think I should be, and I'm basically just pissing myself off a lot of the time. So it's actually just doing for the sake of doing it, like actually just finding why I enjoy it. Because if I do the other thing and I just chase the things, I lose the love for what I'm doing very quickly.
Yeah. And yet you're quite young to find what you enjoy doing to a degree, and I suppose is fortunate, or whether that's just like you've been in a fortunate position to do that, and knowing that you create content, you've enjoyed that, you're obviously incredibly talented at that stuff. And I mean, I suppose, what is the secret to success? Obviously you mentioned consistency prior to this. Like what is it to get to this point now, to then, I suppose, to be able to enjoy dare I say, the journey? I don't like using that. The more, like, you're now at a point of peace, or like I say, at peace, like, or at peace of mind. I suppose, simply, what is the secret to getting to that success? What have you done to get to that point, in both mentally and then, I suppose, monetary value in terms of what you've created online?
I don't think there is a secret. I think the journey will be different for every individual person. I think that there's many roads to finding that what that means for you. Because someone else, I mean, look, you could interview 20 people and you get 20 different answers to that questions. Yeah. So someone will be like, oh, if you just do this every day and that every day and that every day, then you'll be at peace and loving what you do. That will work for them for sure. But for me, I think I chased my own tail for a long time with this, chasing views, chasing money, chasing all that kind of stuff. And it actually ended up in a place where I got miserable with the whole thing. At a height of what looked like on the outside success, in terms of views, in terms of growth, in terms of money, in terms of going to all events and all that kind of stuff. So what looks like the height of that, actually then enjoyed it way less because of the relationship with it. So the secret to it, I don't think there is a secret as such. I think I think it's not losing why you love doing it, because I had to kind of strip things back and go back to making content I love, or thinking about making content I love just from a deep creative standpoint, as opposed to doing it for the sake of vanity metrics,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
which
like that.
is
Yeah, yeah,
an easy net to fall into. And when I say that, I'm not saying just be like, oh, just be, this woo woo pure creative, and you're like, oh, I just get blown by the wind, and no business things like that. Not so like, no, I'm not saying that. It's good to have the business and all of that kind of stuff and the structure to it. Yes. That is all a big yes, and those are great things. I think it's just a kind of a standpoint of where you're at with it.
yeah. And you can do both, can't you? Like I had a guy called Aaron Branch on the last pod, and he's got a marketing agency. His one of his secrets to success was meta ads. So like he was a little bit different because he obviously loves ads and that is his job. But also like he did some like sort of viral hacking TikTok stuff and getting millions of views on his, just as a test. And it got him nowhere. He said, I got no business out of it because I'm just getting views and likes. And like, it's not the people that I want for business. And then his Instagram, he's got a bit more raw, authentic. He's done it, and he's just got way more business out of it for a fraction of the stuff. So like, I suppose that you say there's a way of being you and doing stuff that works on the internet while marketing yourself and doing it all together, I suppose, isn't there?
Yeah, I think being raw and authentic is a play, is the play. That's not a good phrase, but like it is the thing to do, because you can go for viral views and things like that, and yes, it will work into some extent. You'll get brand deals and you'll get all of that kind of stuff, and that can work for some people for sure. Some people like that, but you have the opportunity to build something much deeper, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, let's just talk about what a day looks like for you. We talked prior about where you started, a bit of Gary V, sort of messaging on Instagram. Like, what is business and life like for you? Like, you've got an incredible personal brand, dare I say it, online. You've got over 300,000 followers. You've got your different sort of online courses and your mentorships that you do. You've got brand deals in Adobe, all the bits and pieces that you do. Talk to me what a week in the life of Luca Peterson looks like.
Oh, there's no set
Take an
consistency at the
average.
moment, because, well, I mean, at the moment, for the last 6 months, it's been so up in the air, because I tried to move country and it didn't work out, so I couldn't give you an accurate answer to that. Right now, it is moving everything back down to London and getting used to being back here again in the swing of things, the social stuff that comes with that, sorting out the new apartment, which takes way slower than anyone would ever think, for some reason. As you'll know, in property, these things just they take bloody forever for no apparent reason. So right now, a week in the life is very different to what it has been. I mean, I've been doing a lot of traveling recently. I've been taking things kind of a lot slower recently, to be honest. Towards Christmas, the whole moving country thing was very intense. I did a 2 month tour of America before moving all the way over to Bali, and during that two month tour and moving over to Bali, I was running a business, shooting content, editing content, mentoring people, getting used to different time zones every week, and also then socializing and going to all the events and moving around in America when I was doing that. And frankly, I found it exhausting. I think it's very easy to romanticize the whole travel creator kind of vibe, like, oh, look at me, I get to go to all these countries and get to do all these things. The reality is, jet lag absolutely floors me. And getting used to time zones is horrible. I like routine, and sleeping in a different bed every other week when I'm moving hotels or moving to different Airbnbs was like, I was like, I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment it's a bit up in the air.
Yeah, it's funny. I always have said to myself, I love like not having routine to a degree. Like, oh, I don't want to work in the 9 to 5, I think is probably what I probably just tried to describe to myself. But actually, as soon as I break routine, I hate it. It's like, if I can't go to the gym at a certain time, if I can't do this, if I can't sleep in the certain bed at this, like, we're all sort of creatures of habit to a degree. However, nomadic we think we may or may not be able to come doing, and having that routine and having even just your stuff in one place is just quite helpful at times, isn't it? Like
yeah,
you
so
think you don't
nice.
need a lot, but yeah, I just want my bag in one. I want my stuff in one place. It is a funny one.
I've been training tons recently because I've got a somewhat a goal to get to my peak physical condition better than I've been in before. So I've been training so much recently, and the place I've moved in London, I'm right near one of my favorite gyms in the whole city. It's so good. And so that's part of my routine at the moment is I'm just training a lot. And I think some people, it works. They like travel lifestyles and travel and content creators. They like it, or they seem to do it for a while. Frankly, I don't think I'm the kind or have the kind of mind or the kind of lifestyle to be a travel creator. And that, like, every now and then for sure. Like, if we're doing 2 weeks going somewhere, then yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But one needs a base and a routine, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I love my travel, absolutely. But yeah, there is something about having a home or a base that makes a big difference. So looking back, what things do you think you'd have done differently when starting out, creating content, doing the bits and pieces that you're doing, filming, editing? What would you have done differently?
I don't know if it's going to be a weird answer to this, but I actually wouldn't change anything because it's all led to me being where I am now and kind of being in a mode of right now of just finding that peace of mind with things, seeking being in a really good space and finding the joy and the love for it. In business, finding the joy and love for business, finding the joy and love for content and all of that kind of stuff. So it's brought me to a place where I'm seeking that actively. So I actually wouldn't change it. I don't think I could have changed anything because I needed everything to happen that did happen to lead up to this point.
Yeah, and I've had a really similar answer from a fellow that played rugby for New Zealand. He said exactly the same thing, and he'd gone through a couple of challenges, but it was like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done the same thing and I wouldn't got to this point without those bits in between. So I suppose it's nice to hear because sometimes you think people have, but not regrets, but certainly like, oh, I would have just tweaked that or done this, and then to say that obviously it shaped you a bit is really helpful, I suppose.
Yeah, every struggle, which I mean, like there's been quite a few. There's been a couple of big ones, but those were the making, like you just said. It was like the making of me then going deeper and learning more.
Yeah, and I suppose it leads to my sort of next question. So, what has been the biggest challenge then that's got you to where you are today?
I think struggling with addiction a lot when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, struggling with addiction heavily was definitely the biggest challenge, and the challenges that's brought ever since because it's an ever evolving thing. But it was literally from the age of 14 to about 23. So 23, I became sober. And since then to 5 years ago have been, but that's a constant evolution of change and working with the challenges that brings.
I find people that have success or are driven in a certain way to have that borderline addictive personality no matter what. Like I know I'm not saying I'm successful, but I certainly have something where you become really obsessed over certain things and doing things and becoming better at things. And I can sort of take it or leave it. And even just like coffee for me, like I'm just so into it. It's just in this sort of crazy way that people find it strange that I even filter and make my own water. But like that's me. Like I'll just get into something like same with a CrossFit or same with the business stuff. I find that people probably have that. I've consciously never done drugs, and that's not for like a kudos thing or to say that I've not done it. I was always so scared of becoming addicted because I've got that personality. That's what stopped me ever doing anything, just because I'm so scared of doing that. So I suppose I bet lots of people can resonate with that, like addiction and addictive sort of stuff. What did you do to change? Like what was it? Just to wake up one morning and going, right, I'm going to go sober, or was it more of a path and a journey than just a flick of a light switch?
It was a deteriorating journey over that long time, over from 13 to 23. By the way, it's similar when you say the addictive personality. Oh, dude, it could be anything. It would be food. It could be gaming. My goodness, like when I was 15, FIFA was not just an obsession, it was mental. Like when I say mental, I'd know the exact amount of time that I could complete a season in manager mode, and I'd just be like, you can give me anything, I'll go down a route with it. I also find it hilarious that you filter and create your own water in Yorkshire, where the water's really nice. But
Bore you about it for hours, but yeah. What stopped the addiction? Like, where did you get to that?
I woke up one day and I was like, this cannot continue.
Yeah, fair. That takes a
Yeah.
decent amount of willpower, though. Hey,
Actually, the opposite is actually a bit of it's a surrender. Really, it's actually the willpower that causes the issue, because I'll have been like, or my will, frankly, was chasing all of those things and doing all of that stuff. To the opposite to it was surrendering that I can't do that.
okay.
Doesn't work for me. I'm just wired that way, where that's not going to work.
In a world now that's obviously full of distractions, your job or your a lot of your stuff is through internet, social media, through those channels. Like, how do you stay focused and not get distracted? And I suppose there's a second part to the question: how do you not get overwhelmed by other people as well? With like, because I find this all the time, so I'm asking this question for me. I've not written this down. This is for me. Like watching other people's content and going, right, he's really good or she's really good. Like, yeah,
He's great. I'm crap. Done.
Yeah. How do you get through? So, it's a long-winded two-part question, but lots of distractions online. How do you stay focused in it?
It's very easy as a creator to be like, oh, I'm just doing research. I'm just researching what's working, the latest trends. If I'm honest with myself, 98% of the time, 99% of the time, I'm not doing research. I'm on there, and it's just a dopamine hit, scrolling. So I guess the overarching answer is to create more and consume less. The practical answer to that, I have something called Opal, which blocks my apps now. Great app for doing that, and you can put time blocks on there. Do I snooze it? Sometimes I do, but that's just my habits with the things. I think I'll just have 15 minutes. It's never just 15 minutes. So I do that, but I also just take the approach that I've now realized that every time I go on social media, I'm one going to be entertained, but two, I am going to have that feeling we just spoke about, where I'm going to look at other people's content and think, God, they're so good. Like, I'm not doing enough. I should be doing that. And if I'm doing that, then I'm just in this. It's like this state of ego of like thinking, well, I've got to compete and be better than, or be doing the same thing as these people. I think if you take it from the standpoint as creating more and consuming less, I think you'll feel a lot better about the whole process.
Yeah, I get paralyzed by it a bit, and we've spoken lots about content, and I want to sort of improve and tweak mine a bit, and then I end up watching people and then going, how has he done that? How has he done that? And then before I know it, I've not done any of it, and we're back to square one, and we're just sort of wasting time. So it is hard. It is so difficult.
So is seeing that pattern and seeing though, like what you just said, like if you took yourself out of it and someone else told you that, you could easily say to that person, well, just stop doing it. It's not helping you.
Yeah.
But in our minds, when we're doing it, it's like, I need to do this right now. And it is a form of this addiction, because we get something from it. There is something that we're getting from it, but the trade-off just isn't good enough. The trade-off isn't doing it anymore. So I don't do it anymore. I just don't get in the ring with it. Because it is that. You're going to get in the ring with that, and it's going to punch you in the face, and you're going to feel like shit. And so just not getting in it anymore.
Yeah, it does. I go full circle. Go, all right, I'm going to do this. You get really excited. Like, oh, I'm going to be the best creator in the world. Oh no, and then we're back to zero. How have mentors, peers, and even competitors influenced your journey? I know you've met a lot through the internet. I know we spoke about it prior to meeting one of your best mates, who was one of the people I first met you through, or together as you did the cohort. Tell me about mentors and peers.
Yeah, mentors for sure, especially in business, that's helped a lot. I think if you can find, firstly, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of bullshit, there's tons of bullshit, and there's lots of mentors going out there. If what I would say to people who are susceptible to falling for every next trend or hit is, when somebody's marketing to you, it is designed to make you feel like you're missing out and they have the answer. So everyone who's doing that, there's a reason. That's not to say that it's all bad, because it isn't. I've had some fantastic mentors, and if you can really just find that, consume the consume the content, or like see or get to know them for a long time before you're considering buying from them, maybe. Well, not that long. I mean, it's not going to take you that long, is it, to figure out if someone's a liar or whatever. But I think mentors have been vital for business stuff. Just translate, just giving the knowledge that I didn't have and helping me apply it in my way helps me accelerate like crazy. So if you can find a really good mentor to do that, then that's awesome. Peers, yeah, like I've made so many friends through content. I've traveled the world with friends through content and who I've just met online. So for that, it's been fantastic. I mean, like we were mentioning, Zach, one of my best mates, we first started hanging out when I'd only just started using a camera. So he, in fact, don't know if I should admit this online on a podcast. He, in fact, helped teach me how to use a camera.
Oh,
he's going to love
this up and send it to him.
If he hears that, he's going to love to know that.
Send it to him.
Yeah, so he helped teach me. Like I shot him a DM through Insta, and we met up in London when he was traveling here. And I think you learn so much from other people, for sure. Those genuine connections that you find through others, and just shooting with others, creating with others, you're going to learn really fast.
I've really got into my content creation, and I really love my tech and my bits and pieces, and I'm like you, I buy loads of rubbish I don't need in the aid that I become either Spielberg or Clooney by having a really expensive camera. But also there's a couple of guys up here who have helped me film some stuff, and I've started talking to them a little bit more, and I have learned more. Like YouTube and stuff's great, isn't it? It's such a fantastic tool, but like everyone's giving such like sort of broad advice that you sort of have to really cut through to get anywhere. Whereas actually when you can just talk to somebody and they show you a few bits, like
brilliant,
it saves so much time. Like
you do.
There's so much free advice, which is great, but like it's actually having that. And I think as well, in a world where social media is so easy to get onto and speak to people to a degree, like actually meeting and seeing people just makes the world a difference. I don't do it enough. Like I don't shoot enough DMs out to people to say like, I love your stuff, can we talk? It's like what I feel like you did that really early on, didn't you? In your stage, you said you used to send loads of messages out, and then that's created a really good few connections for some of the people that you've got on with.
Yeah, early doors, like we were speaking about before, I used to go to, this is back when I worked in finance, and I was just getting into photography and editing and all that kind of stuff. Digital art, actually, originally. I was just getting into that. I'd go to the gym on my lunch break, and I'd walk on the treadmill for an hour and a bit, and I'd just be commenting on people's Instagram posts, DMing people, being like, love your work, and just like literally manually connecting with tons of people on a daily basis, like at least 100 at a time. Yeah. I'd just be on there commenting on tons of posts, like and like a genuine comment, not just been like flame emojis. Like I'd go on and like I'd look at the work and I'd be like, oh, this is really cool, and then get in a conversation with them. And from that, I mean, I can tell you, Zach is one of them. Matisse Decro in France is another one of them. Like I was with him and some friends over there who I met through doing that. So I've met people all over the world from literally just connecting on social media. It's really good for that. I guess it's striking the balance on just being on there too much, consuming, and actually being on there to connect. But everyone's going to know their own individual balance with that.
Tell me a bit about a turning point of your success. So there'll be loads of people, I said lots of people listening, and myself included, where like I really went all in on, or trying to start going all in on content about a year ago, actually. It was just over a year ago when I first done your and Zach's thing. I was like, I posted every day. And I've not been far off posting every day since, and I'm still a long way off where I want to be. Like where did the sort of penny drop moment, or the bit where you're like, oh wow, this is awesome, or the first bit of like real cash that came in, you're like, wow, I'm actually doing this now. This is awesome. Like, where was that sort of turning point in it? How long did that take you to get to that point?
The first turning point was social media was actually when TikTok was becoming a thing. So in 2020, in lockdown, that was the first turning point in my videos performing. And what I did before that, I started posting like 2018. I posted the odd YouTube video, posted, a few things on Instagram, a few things on TikTok, but nothing was taking off as such. And then TikTok was probably when it first took off. I was watching Peter McKinnon, as I always did back then, the guy who got me into photography and stuff and cameras. And I was listening to a Gary Vee podcast and he was talking about TikTok. So I was like, I'll give it a go. And dude, for like 2 weeks, I was just posting nonsense on there, like thinking this thing's bullshit, it doesn't work. Gary Vee's lying. Like, I mean, like literally I'd have my video and I'd be like sunset outside just on my iPhone, like thinking it was amazing. It's actually wild that I was like, because I can look at them now and I'm like, I thought that was really good at the time, genuinely. And then I thought it kind of took off when I thought I love Peter McKinnon's videos. Why do I love them? Because he's teaching me all these things and he's really funny. How could I do that in like 30 seconds? And maybe I could give that a go on TikTok. And so I literally just compressed what I was learning in his videos into 30 seconds and it just went viral. Like it went, I had maybe like 100 followers on TikTok overnight. It hit to like 10K. And the video had like 700K views overnight. And then I just kept on doing that and doing that and doing that because once you get that first one, it becomes a snowball. It's kind of like building up to that first one. And whilst I say it like that on TikTok, it sounds like it happened really quickly. I started in 2018. I started making content in 2018 and that happened in 2020. So that's 2 years of me messing around, trying to find my way to eventually something taking off. The second thing you said about the first bit of cash. So the first thing I did when I moved down to London and I was growing on social media, I had about 50, 60K on Instagram or something. And then I was growing on TikTok. I had about 200K or something around those figures. I couldn't tell you for sure. And I started a content agency where I was helping companies create content. So that's when I was first able to leave my 9 to 5 kind of the finance world to be doing my own thing as an agency. That was kind of my breakthrough from that. The first proper bit of cash was when I signed with a manager and we landed Adobe as a sponsor back in 2022, the end of 2022. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, there's a lot of money in this. And so that's when things started to kind of just take off on that front.
Awesome. Okay, so 4 years to be an overnight success then. Yeah, so just, I funny enough, there's a guy, I don't know if you follow him, Sam Cornforth, I think his name is. He's got a mustache. He's like does a bit of fitness, but takes the piss out of fitness. And he's great. He's an English fella in London. Like, I'll shoot you his things. You'd enjoy his stuff. He did one about running, which has gone like really viral. He's funny, but he posted a video. He's on a TV show now. He's got like a comedy program or something. He's a funny guy, but he's got like, he put all like the 10 years he's got of like his hi, I'm Sam on YouTube. And like, you could see the evolution of quality stuff. And you're like, he's put them all together. And it's really nice to see that like from his first sort of semi-awkward like video all the way to now where he's on telly is like this 10 years of progress. And I'm like, that is pretty cool. It must be cool for him to see. And like he seems like a genuinely funny guy that has just put himself out there for a lot of time and made himself look like a dick a few times, I'm sure, but that's all part of it. Yeah.
It's, I mean, I look at my first video on YouTube, I wasn't semi-awkward, mate. I was like completely like unapproachable. I look at them, I've seen them because I did a video where I did that countdown, the count up on my Instagram. I've got a completely different voice. I look completely different. Yeah. It's almost like, who is that person? But at the time, I thought that was really good content. And this is the trap that people, a lot of people fall into. They get pissed off because they think they're making really good content and they're not going viral. I'm like, just wait 4 years and you'll look back on that content and you'll be like, oh my God, that's why I wasn't going viral. But the compound effect of doing it daily between then and say 2, 3, 4 years, however long it takes, because it can be different for everyone, is you're going to improve so much that you will look back and you'll be like, yeah, obviously.
I get people that say to me, like, oh, I couldn't do what you do. Put yourself out there, do this, that, and the other. I was like, well, I can't do what I do. I've just made the decision. Like, I'm not very good at doing what I do. I find it really awkward. Like, I turn the camera on, I start spluttering everywhere, and like it's awful. Like, I script some things and then I can't even remember a line. Like, the scripts are it, and like I'm not just like, but like it's practice, right? Isn't it? It's the old Hormozy. You've got to do 10,000 hours. It's not 1,000 hours anymore. You just got to do reps. You've got to get like. I remember working behind the scenes at Sky for rugby league before. And I always noticed the guy that does the presenter is a guy called Brian Carney. Was a really good player, but he's a really good presenter. And like he'd be chatting away, and then the cameras come on and he comes alive. Like you got to go up like another octave or another like whatever it is, another level. And I really noticed that like the difficulty and the challenge of doing that. And you've got to sort of raise your energy for the camera and all that sort of bits and pieces. There's all these different bits and tricks, and you see like good actors and actresses on TV, and you're like, that must be really challenging. But it's just practice, right? No one just turned on a camera and was a genius, right? Like it's just a lot of reps, right?
It is practice. It's also finding, I think, the underlying joy for it as well, like we were speaking about earlier. And that's not to say that every day that I was on, I've been on camera and loving it. Not every day I'm like, I can't wait to make a video. Like, that's just not true. A lot of the time I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, here we go. But it's as soon as I start doing it, I can switch into, this is really fun.
Yeah.
And when you have fun on camera, then your videos are going to do better. Then you're going to grow more. Then you're going to get more brand deals. Then you're going to launch a more. It's all downstream from that. That's why I say that's when I was saying at the beginning, that's the most important thing is me finding the peace of mind with it is because everything else is downstream from it. It's not because I'm just like, be woo-woo about it and be this like creative, like fucking whatever. It's not that. It's because everything else is just downstream from it. You're going to find more success by enjoying it more.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. Like I find you really entertaining on camera. We've spoken about this before. Like I turn the camera on and then I try telling a joke and like, oh god, that is awful. Like I'm not funny at all. But like when we're sort of chatting away and sort of vibing off, like it's okay. Like I think I'm all right. I've got a bit of crack about me. But then you turn a camera on, like God, this guy is the most boring fella in the world. So actually finding that enjoyment in it is not the easiest thing to do in terms of like trying to get your personality across as well, especially when it's only one way and there's nothing coming back. Like I'm probably better when we're joking with people, but like it isn't easy. It is not easy at all. Like what's the hardest decision you've ever had to make in sort of business and life? What have you learned from that?
In life, it was sobriety back in 2020, for sure. That was the most difficult and the surrender that came with that. In business, it was moving to London when I had not enough money to live in London, that's for sure. Back in 2021, it was the decision to be like, I just want to move to that city because I don't want to stay up north. There's more going on down there. I'll find my feet. And I did. I found my feet just from leaping into that. Fortunately, I had a really good mate who gave me super good rent in literally central London. So I was very, fortunate on that front, but it was jumping in basically completely, or not completely, but almost blind. I knew 3 people in the city, my brother and this friend. So it was jumping into that and just trying to find my way.
Yeah. I listened to a pod once. I can't remember what it was. He was a money guy actually, but he was like, go rent in a city. Like I think he was an American fella. So like, you got New York, LA, whatever you. I suppose over here, be like Manchester, Birmingham, London. Like the ROI of being in a city where there's lots going on is something that you can't replace. Like trying to buy a house, your forever home at 21 in Yorkshire, for example, is like your ROI of going to go rent in a city for a bit and living and meeting loads of people because there's loads going on every night is a big thing. And I can see that with you.
That's actually I've not heard it like that way before. When you just said then the ROI of buying your forever home in Yorkshire at 21 is because I've always that's really interesting. I've always thought that. I've thought, oh well, gosh, like living here is so much money. Like especially London and especially New York and those kind of places.
Yeah,
is so much. So much is going to go on rent and all of those expenses. And I kind of thought. So I just like buy something up, and then I thought, but you've just nailed it. Then, like, what is the ROI of someone in their 20s settling down in Yorkshire? It's not. It's not like
yeah. Like I'll go on this. Like I the advice I give to other people, and maybe not like a regret, is like stay live your 20s and go into a city and just go do it. Like, definitely, like, I would say it was quick to settle down, but certainly, like, the way that sort of life worked for me is I did a bit of traveling and I came back and we're like, oh, we'll just stay around here because family are here and it's easy. And, like, you know, buy a house, and you sort of like, almost like the warm lobster effect, like the sort of, you sort of fall asleep a little bit and you don't sort of quite realize where actually, if you pushed a little bit more uncomfortable, like, I love Manchester up this way where we are, like, or like, you know, going to London, like, you can see how much is going on. And yeah, the cost is more, a bit on your health if you're going out and you're eating a bit more or whatever it might be. But like, the people you meet and the stuff that's going on, and even like potential partners, you've got more choice to a degree, like there's more people around, like, but certainly job and work opportunities, like the networking and stuff, it's like, it's hard up here. There's not loads going on in, say, if Leeds, like Leeds is a good enough city, but like, it's pretty sleepy. Compared to where these other places are. And I loved that as an ROI thing. And obviously that I only heard that about a year ago, so it sort of slightly passed me by a little bit. But yeah, for any youngish boys or girls or whoever, just go do it. Like, I think it's I think it's a huge return. You know, it's not renting, it's not dead money if you're making the most of life in between.
Yeah, that's so true. That is really true. And by the way, anyone listening, we're not dissing Yorkshire. We're both actually from Yorkshire, so we're allowed to say it. If not, I think if it was someone from somewhere else saying it, the punishment is crucifixion.
We can slag it off because we're here, but we can say slag it off. I'm sat in Wakefield, and it's dark, it's murky, it's February, it's not great, but it is home. We've sort of answered this, and I suppose I'm going to frame it a slightly different way. It's sort of one of the last questions, but knowing everything you know now and you start again, and I suppose not that this is necessarily regrets, but what would you probably do slightly different if you were starting again, or what would you have done more of to get to where you want to be quicker, if that makes sense?
I genuinely think it's the same answer, dude, as we went over earlier. Yeah. I don't think I could have done one way or another, because every say struggle or things that happened that was really, really difficult, probably off the top of my head, came from my own making. So, but I had to go through them to realize what not to do. Otherwise, I just would not have learned. And you couldn't, if you got 18-year-old me, you couldn't have told me anything, dude. You couldn't tell me anything. I thought I knew everything. I genuinely just was like, if you gave me any advice, what were you on about, mate? I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. So
I have this with parenting both my little girl and my stepkids. I'm just sort of like, how much do you try telling them, because you just know no one's listening, but you can't just sort of let them go on their own free will. It's like you're in this real sort of quandary. You're like, I know you're not listening that much. Basically, just please don't stab yourself with that knife, and then the rest just sort of go learn yourself. Go make the mistakes yourself. Go
get the basics
yourself
in place. This is not good for you.
Just simple risk assessments is basically the way to parent.
Simple risk. That's right. It's not a challenge I've yet faced. Is having children. So.
Yeah, it's
we'll cross that bridge.
Not rush to do it would be another piece of advice. Like, if at all, I've got a buddy who's in London, and he's doing some good bits and pieces. He's got an app for High Rocks, which is the trendiest thing in the world at the moment. But I keep telling him, he's 31 now. He's like, don't rush to have it. Don't rush to have them. It is if at all, like society says it. I suppose everyone's got a choice, but yeah, it certainly does change your life. So there's plenty of time for it. I feel like lots of people sort of follow society, don't you? Like we've just said, buy the house in Yorkshire, near family, have the kid, get the career. Like the world's changed a lot for that, and you can set businesses up from anywhere and do it. And it's not easy, but there's a beauty of it. So,
and that for some people though, this is the thing. For some people, that's great, and it's totally the thing for them. Moving doesn't always work or create the change. Like, as I've just proved to myself, literally, I just tried to move to Bali, and it was a total disaster. The whole thing was a total disaster, and literally came back to London tail between legs, because I thought it was a brilliant idea, and then, but. This is why I go back to to why I wouldn't change or couldn't change anything, is because if you told me before going to Bali, Luca, I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should stay in London and maybe eventually move to the US. I'd have been like, you're mental, mate. Like, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be amazing. And I would not have like blinkers on thinking it's a great idea. I have to go and do the thing. And then I'm like, oh shit, yeah, maybe it wasn't. It was pretty bad. So it's like, I have to learn. I don't know. I have to learn that way. And I've understood now that I've learned that way now. So whatever happens is meant to happen to teach me some kind of lesson.
Yeah. Okay. As long as it's safe within a reason. Yeah. Just go down.
Within a reason. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge.
Yeah. Simple risk assessments. Just remember that. Mate, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's always fun talking to you. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next pod.